So I must admit I didn't know what to think when Andy described me as an honest man falling on politicians. I'm not sure what I thought about the laughing about. So anyway, good evening everybody. Obviously it's a great pleasure to be here to kick off Family Mediation Week. I can see a number of familiar faces here and old friends here, and I've met some new people here today. And as we've just heard, I became the Minister responsible for family courts in July of last year, and it's a real privilege because before that I was chair of the Greater London Family Panel as a family magistrate for 3 years. And before that I was chair of the Greater London Youth Magistrates grouping. And so I'm very, very aware of the overlap between youth courts and public family law. So that's something which I think I can make a contribution to, and I am making a contribution to within our responsibilities. But as a family magistrate in London, about 80% of my work was private law. And we see litigants in person all the time. In fact, it's very unusual when you see both sides represented. And of course, a huge proportion of our cases have domestic abuse elements to it. I'd say a minimum of 60%, if not more. And so it's something we see all the time. And as I was saying to various people I met here this evening, in fact my old next door neighbour was a mediator, and so I shared many a glass of wine of her going through the training process and then sitting as a mediator while I was sitting as a family magistrate and talking about really what Andy's just been talking about how the perceptions of mediation, the ups and downs of mediation have evolved over the years. And now, as everybody has said, it's really an absolutely integral and central part of the way that we hope families will resolve their differences for the benefit of the children. So it really is central now in a way that wouldn't necessarily have happened if the pennies hadn't dropped as they did. So congratulations to you, if you like, for establishing the centrality of family mediation. You won't need me to tell you about the problems of family breaking up, particularly the problems on children, anxiety, depression, aggression, reduced performance in schools, substance misuse, and all the rest. We're all very familiar with that. And as we've heard, courts of course are the right answer for some families, but really my job and the President's job is to try and come up with a way that where it's not necessary families are diverted away from the court process, because I've absolutely seen it many, many times where the court process itself makes the situation worse. And it's inevitable. I mean, if you're having to review a previous allegation of a domestic abuse, which is several years ago, and it really makes it worse if you're going to have to go into an adversarial fact-finding to try and resolve that issue. Sometimes it's necessary, but there you are. It's not a great process, and I always said that to the couples when they were heading in that direction. I would warn them that it's not a great process and it may well make things worse. Right, I've got other things to say here, so I must make sure for Beth that I need to say them. Yes, the other point I wanted to make, which is a lot of what we're doing now is continuity with the previous government. My predecessor was Christopher Lord Bellamy, and he made a point of introducing me to some of the initiatives which the previous government was doing. And I'm particularly thinking of the Pathfinder initiatives. Now, we don't have Pathfinder in London. I can see some people are nodding their head, but we don't yet have Pathfinder in London, but it is in other parts of the country. And in fact, next Friday, a week tomorrow, I'll be going down to Wales, to Cardiff, to open the next Pathfinder courts in Swansea. And we very much believe that this is the way forward as far as sort of being on the brink of court, if I can put it like that. So this is where effectively you get the voice of the child in earlier in the process, you divert cases, and you get people who are specialists in domestic abuse earlier in the process. So you only get the ones which definitely need to be in court, which is the whole objective. And the main benefit which we're seeing in the various pilot schemes that have run is that the cases are resolved quicker. And there are huge benefits to resolving cases quickly. Because as we all know, if cases get stuck, either in the court system or elsewhere, if they get stuck, other issues come up and it gets more and more complex. And that means that if there was any goodwill, that gets harder to find, and other accusations come to light, and the issues are not resolved, and that is not for the benefits of the children. So the great benefit of Pathfinder is speeding up the process. And mediation, as I said in my introduction, is really a very important part of that. Now, what you really want to know is how much support the government's going to give.
Wait, change it.
So I'm pleased, I'm delighted to announce this evening that as a result of the recent spending review, the government has committed to funding the voucher scheme for a further year. This is obviously positive news for you and your colleagues, and more importantly for the families you support every day. I made the point when we came in that I absolutely know that the point that everybody makes is you want multi-year funding. It's not just these organisations, everybody wants that. And I can assure you I'm repeating that point as we go through different budget calculations, and we will be going into a next round of calculations. But I am absolutely aware that is something we need to work towards, and I'm fighting that. So the next review will be a multi-year spending review, and so hopefully we can give multi-year commitments as part of the multi-year spending review, but I'm not making any promises on that. I think a lot's been achieved, even in my time in the family court system, and I want to continue to increase the uptake of mediation voucher scheme. That's the objective. It's absolutely self-evident that it's a very effective scheme, and the data you collect is actually very important. It helps us to build our case. One of the things I've learned as a minister in the few months I've been in post is the importance of demonstrating the case you're making, and so data is absolutely key to that. You get absolutely nowhere without proper data to back up the claims you're making. So thank you for the data that you produce. So really that's me concluding. I just wanted to conclude by saying thank you once again. I think the work you do is profoundly important, and we in the Ministry of Justice are very grateful for that.
Thank you.